Happy Sunday night, y'all. It is Captain Dylan Hubbard at Hubbard's Marina, and it is time for that live stream fishing show. That's right, it's Sunday night here on November 8th. We are getting ready to start that live stream fishing show. Hopefully, you guys are ready for a great show. We're going to be talking all about fishing tips, tricks, and more. And we're going to be giving away free fishing trips. We're going to be sharing all our latest tips, tricks, and more, answering your questions live from the show. So make sure you text in your questions. Make sure you let us know where you're watching from. And don't forget to grab a drink and sit back, relax. Let's get this party started. Hopefully everybody can hear me well. We did a little pre-live video in our private supporters group, and they were having a little trouble hearing me. So let me know in the comments if you can hear me well. Hopefully the sound is better on this video. Can you hear me drinking my Jameson? David DeVoe, thanks for sending some stars. Johnny Ferguson, appreciate you, buddy. Hopefully you guys can hear me all right. Like I was saying, we are having some sound troubles in the pre-live video, on our private supporters page. They were having some trouble hearing me, so hopefully the sound is better here using our special microphone. So I'm glad to hear it looks like people are saying it is loud and clear. So we are just about ready to start our live stream show tonight. Unfortunately, we are not live on YouTube. We are still in YouTube timeout. So frustrating, but hopefully we'll be able to figure that out soon. Super annoying that we can't get YouTube live, but we will figure that part out. And appreciate you tuning in and joining us for the live stream show tonight. We are going to be talking all about nearshore and offshore fishing tips, tricks, and more. And I don't know what in the world's going on with the sound. People are saying there's feedback. Maybe it's the baby monitor. We got the baby monitor right next to the mic. We'll move all that. Maybe the baby monitor is what was causing the sound problem before. My wife's normally home and she's got the baby monitor. It's the first time I've been around the baby monitor, so maybe that's what it was. Who knows? But like I was saying, we're gonna get ready we're gonna get started here very shortly. Just about ready to rock and roll on the show. Don't forget to comment where you're watching from. Don't forget to like us on Facebook. Make sure you like this video too. We get a lot of viewers, a lot of comments, but we only get like 200 likes on the video every week. So make sure you like the video. I appreciate it. Helps us spread the good word and get more people watching and tuning in. So make sure to like the video, like our Facebook page, and sit back, relax. We're about ready to get started. If you have a question, again, don't forget to text that question in. The upper right-hand corner is where you see that option to text in your question. That's the phone line where you can text in your question. We'll answer your questions live during the show once we get rolling. So make sure you text in your question if you want them answered live during the show. We can't answer your questions from the comments because a lot of times your comments disappear on me. So in order to get your question answered live during the show, you do have to text in your questions to that phone number in the upper right-hand corner. Just need a few moments here and we'll get rocking and rolling. Just gotta get that free giveaway deal working. Always a challenge, but always something we are able to overcome eventually. It always likes to give me something to, it can't be too easy, you know, but we always figure it out. So make sure, again, like the video stream for us, like us on Facebook. We're going to get started very shortly on our live stream show. These shows are every Sunday night right here on the Hubbard's Marina Facebook page. Normally, they are also on the Hubbard's Marina YouTube channel, but YouTube is put us in timeout because of a copyright infraction. Back when Hurricane Sally went through, we were showing some videos of the damage, and apparently someone didn't like that we were showing their video. So we got a little bad mark, and that was enough to knock us out and make it to where we can't stream live on YouTube. So a little challenging, but we'll overcome. Hopefully we'll get back on YouTube very shortly. YouTube said it's going to be 90 days. Hopefully it won't be quite that long, because 90 days is a long time. A lot can happen in 90 days. We are almost ready. Figured out the challenge with the video. Before we get started, I do want to show you something cool. My friend has a company called Idea Swell, and he is a crazy good video editor. And I do have permission to share this video, so we're not going to get copyright infringed on this. But Idea Swell, again, is his company. He's local in our area. If you own a business and you want to do any type of video advertisement, definitely look up Idea Swell. Clayton Mayo, you can contact me. I'll give you his contact info. But check out this really cool video. I didn't commission this video. He just did it absolutely free to help us spread the word about the sand issue and raise awareness. So super nice of him and his company to donate this and donate his time, energy, and skill, because this is a really cool video. So I'm going to play it for you real quick before we get started.
I've actually seen jet skis have to rescue people from the middle of the pass because they got caught in a riptide.
It affects all businesses in Johns Pass. Over 40 businesses have signed a petition to try to get this problem resolved.
The waterfront business in Johns Pass is what we built Johns Pass on.
Causes a lot of damage, and it's canceling trips, and it's tying my hands to the point where I don't know what I'm going to do. The jetty has been overtaken with sand, the beach groins are overtaken with sand, and the new bridge has allowed that tidal flow to be so restricted it causes a lot of sand accumulation. Dredging isn't the answer. We can't dredge the private property. That's not a solve. We're more than happy to dredge out our area and clear that, but as soon as we do, the state land, the FDOT land, the Army Corps county land fills right back into the hole we create. So it has to be a coordinated team effort, and everybody needs to come to the plate and work together to save Johns Pass.
For more information, please visit savejohnspass.com and please share this video.
Pretty cool video. And like I said, he did that absolutely free just to help us spread the word on that issue that we're having. So I'll pop the video link into the comments if you want to check it out. There's the video link. And also we started a petition, so make sure if you haven't already, sign the petition. Please, we need help getting as many signatures as we possibly can on that petition. Because I wonder if we can pin the comment. I've seen people pin the comment before. I don't know how to do that. Commented, remove preview. I gotta talk to my friend Mike Boylan and his and his Facebook Live expertise. He always knows how to pin the comments, or should I say, Shelly, his helper. But happy Sunday night, guys. Captain Dylan Hubbard from Hubbard's Marina, and it's time for that live stream show. We're a little early. Normally we start at 8:30 p.m., but we'll start a little earlier than normal because we got a lot to talk about tonight. We got some weather coming in, just a little bit of weather coming in, you know, not too much weather, just Sunday night, guys. Captain Dylan Hubbard. With that, the weather coming in, wanted to talk about that, and wanted to obviously share all the great things that are going on with upcoming events and fishing seasons and such. We're excited about our gag grouper starting to come in more and more. We have the mangrove snapper bites heating up, and lots of good stuff is on the doorstep. Kingfish and mackerel are thick, and we're hoping this weather will die down, because on the backside of this weather, the fishing should be extremely, extremely good. So looking forward to great fishing behind this weather, and some really, really good kingfish and mackerel action. Hogfish should be biting well. Gag grouper should be picking up, and we've been having good red grouper action, and mangrove snapper are picking up too. So lots of good stuff on the horizon behind this weather. And there's a few questions about the petition. Anybody can sign the petition. And I know some of you watching have families, so your whole family can sign the petition. Your friends, your coworkers, out-of-state people, out-of-the-country people, everybody can sign the petition. So share that with your family. Get everybody on there. Right now, I'll show you this number right here. This is 4,857 people have signed it. Let me refresh that. So we're up to 4,900 people have signed it, and hopefully by the end of the show we'll be over 5,000 signatures on that petition, because we need to get as many people as possible on here. We launched this last night at around 6 p.m. and it's been really steadily growing since we launched it. In just about 24 hours, we now have just about 5,000 signatures. So hopefully we can keep that average going, and hopefully we can keep getting 5,000 people every 24 hours, and hopefully more than that, because in order to really catch the eye of our federal representatives, our state representatives, our governor, we're going to need a lot more than 5,000 signatures. So hopefully we can keep it going and keep it growing, and keep those signatures coming in. So share the video, share the petition, and that is as much of the sand thing that we're going to go into during the show, because I want to focus on fishing and having some fun with you guys tonight. So with that, let's move forward. All right, so we talked about YouTube not working. So now it's time to show you some photos of what we've been catching, what we've been seeing around Johns Pass and on our trips. So let's see here. Inshore, we've been seeing some of those flounder. We've been seeing lots of mackerel around the inshore and nearshore waters, anywhere from upper Tampa Bay out to about around 80 foot of water. We're seeing plentiful mackerel, and even a little beyond 80 foot of water, but typically right around the beach, right around the mouth of the bay. Our local fishing piers, passes are great places to find those mackerel. Lots of mackerel around the deeper edges of the flats too. We're seeing a lot of these redfish. The redfish bite's going really well. This redfish was caught by this happy young angler using some fish bites on the edge of the channel up there in Clearwater. So redfish action going well in the upper bay as well, around those mangrove shorelines. Oyster bars, grass flats. We're seeing the sheep's head picking up quite a bit. The sheep's head bite is going to get better and better with this weather. Lots of sheep's head will be pouring into the area, especially with this murky, muddier water. The sheep's head love it. The snook bite's been going real well around the area. We're still seeing some snook biting in the passes at night. The incoming tide at night has been best. During the day, we're seeing some snook around the flats, the dock lines, mangrove shorelines. We're seeing some snook still around the passes during the day too. Just a little trickier during the day. They're definitely more leader shy, and they typically bite more in the pass on the salooners during the day, whereas at night they'll bite almost all the way through that tidal time, especially incoming tide at night. We're seeing those trout biting well around our dock lights, the edges of the grass flats, the potholes. Our friends at Salt Strong have been crushing the trout. Offshore, we're seeing the gag grouper bite picking up. Thanks, Jim Evans, Vicky Armstrong, Poole, Richard Blazek. I saw send some stars as well. Appreciate you guys. Johnny Ferguson, Bill Corley. Appreciate all the stars. Thank you very much. Need all the support we can get. It's been challenging as of late with the sand and the weather and everything else. Kingfish, we've seen a lot of those kingfish. Thanks, Terry Feather, for the stars. Appreciate you. Kingfish bites picking up. Seeing a lot of these kingfish at night on the 39-hour right before sunrise. Seeing a lot of those kingfish. Red grouper bites going really well. Last couple trips been catching a lot of red grouper, especially on that dead cut bait. The dead cut bait's working really well for those red grouper. But they'll take a big live bait too, and this is one of the bigger red groupers by our friend Jim. Nice fat mangrove snapper there. Plentiful mangroves. The mangrove snapper bite's definitely picking up quite a bit. The double Snell rig and that chunk of threadfin is a great way to target those mangroves. Seeing a lot of these red grouper in the 22 to 24 inch range. Not monsters, but we're definitely catching some nice red grouper. Mangrove snapper, plentiful. We're catching a good average size. We're seeing lanes, porgies, scamps. Definitely some good catches on those late 39-hour fishing trips. And we're hoping to get out this Friday on another 39-hour trip behind this weather. It kind of depends on this storm and what Ada does. There's some models that show that storm kind of fizzling out in the Gulf. There's other models that have it strengthening and coming at Tampa. So we're definitely keeping a close eye on hurricane/tropical storm Ada. The best way, if you want to stay in touch with what the weather's doing, is go to our website, hubbardsmarina.com. We've got this fancy new green bar that's going to scroll with you on the homepage. where you can also sign the petition. So after the live show, if you didn't get a chance to sign the petition, you can go on our website. There'll be that green bar there, and all you have to do is click the green bar, and it will take you to the petition. So we're making it real easy for you to get out there and sign that petition. But on our website, under fishing trips, you can scroll down to the weather links. And on the weather links page, at the very bottom of the weather links page is the ultimate storm forecast. This is spaghettymodels.com. This is our friend Mike Boylan. He's right here local in Lakeland, Odessa area. Excuse me. That was a nice whiskey burp. And here is the 7 p.m. forecast. 7 p.m. NHC track. Eye of the storm is approaching the Keys. Probably going to be a tropical storm as it passes the Keys. Going to be strengthening to a hurricane. It's going to do some weird zigzagging and kind of chill out here in the Gulf. And then it's going to go up somewhere from Panama City to Johns Pass is from what the models are saying. So that is going to be later this week. And that's why I think we can get out the 39 hour, because it's supposed to be weakening. I don't think we're going to be able to get out any other trips this week, but we're going to shoot for that 39 hour trip on Friday. Thanks Josiah Stevens and Nick Techlove, and Johnny Ferguson for sending stars. Betty Hall, appreciate you as well. So this is the latest NHC forecast, but on the Mike's Weather page, the coolest thing that I use is right up here in the corner. Can't really show it too easily. Hopefully you can see my mouse. It's top left corner, right above the Sparks thing. You see the different names. I always click GFS, and it takes you to this tropical tidbits page, and you can look at the run time. So I'm going to run 18Z and see if it's ready. And this is the GFS model. So you can just use these arrows right here, and these arrows will walk you through the model. And down here, it'll tell you what day you're looking at. So this is Monday, this is Tuesday, this is later Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. This is a good improvement. This is beautiful, because before it had it almost at 970 millibars, which is flirting with pretty high hurricane chance. So now it's cruising around 990 at its lowest point, 991. So that's a good thing. That means it's weakening, or this model is forecasting that it's going to be weaker. So now from there, what I do is I click the hurricane tab, and then you pick the different models. So I always start with H-Wharf, just click Ada, and again, you're just checking the runtime, picking the latest one. And so zoom out a little bit so you can see it better. And this is gonna, again, you're just gonna use this arrow to advance forward, and you can see this is Wednesday. So this model has it chilling down here for a while. So this is Monday, crossing the Keys, into Tuesday, hanging out here by the tip of Cuba. Wednesday, coming forward, 987, and then weakening a little bit, and then weakens a lot, and basically takes us head on. That's not cool. But by the time it hits us, it's only 1,000 millibars, so that's not a lot. Again, if you go back to the Mike's Weather page, the little key is all the way down on the bottom on the left-hand side. This is the key. So 1,000 millibars would be, it would be a very weak tropical storm or tropical depression. So that's not too bad. We can take a direct hit from a tropical storm or tropical depression. That's just a lot of rain, not so much wind. So this is also a good model. This is also a good thing, but it's a little scary that it comes at us at 985. So 985 would be a Cat 1 hurricane. So this model has it charging us as a Cat 1 hurricane, and then right before it gets to us, it weakens. So that would be scary, but it would be doable, handleable. And again, just working down the model list, I go to H-Wharf, H-Mon, and we already looked at GFS. I don't bother with CMC. That seems to always be screwed up. So let's go back in time. Start this. So Monday. So this model has it going way down by Cuba, strengthening a lot. 979, 980, and then it's weakening. And basically this model has it just chilling out there in the Gulf of Mexico. So that's even better. So all three models right now look very doable. So that's all great news. And that's how I check tropical systems. And I do that quite frequently through the day. So that is our friend Mike's weather page. That's his website. Those are the tools that you can use to check the tropical updates. And Mike also has his Facebook page, Mike's weather page, and he does live updates a lot, and he bounces through his site and shows you more tools. So I've been watching his videos for like 3 years, and basically watching his videos, and I pause them to see where he clicks, and then I learn slowly on how to navigate the website better. But I tried to go really slowly, so hopefully everybody followed me, and hopefully you saw those tools, because that right there is a great way to kind of keep a close eye on the updates. And those updates come every about 4 to 6 hours, depending on what you're looking for, whether it's a model or the NHC track. Thanks, Chrissy Payne, for sending us some stars. Appreciate you. All right, so we talked about the weather. Subscribers group is live. Don't forget to check out the subscribers group. You get behind the scenes info and some other photos and info that no one else gets, and some advanced information like our new 39-hour trip coming up November 17th. We built that in the schedule early, and the subscribers found out about it. The regulars club found out about it. We emailed you guys about it. So hopefully everybody saw it, but definitely you get advanced information. You get some private exclusive content in that subscribers page. So check it out. If you haven't already, you can become a subscriber by clicking that button at the top of our page, or right on our live videos. There's a button, I believe, to become a subscriber. It's pretty cool. It's only $4.99 a month. The Nomad lures, we got new Nomad lures in our shop. They make great trolling lures. The Nomad Mad Max, the Nomad DTX lures. They dive deep, they dive straight, they troll really well. They're really good deep blue water trolling tackle. And then we talked about the petition. We showed you that cool video. So with that, I think it's time to give away our first free trip of the night, and then we'll get into your questions. So hopefully you've had a chance to text your questions to that phone number in the upper right hand corner. If you haven't done so already, you got a second to do it now. So make sure you text those questions to the phone number in the upper right hand corner, and we are just about ready to get rolling on those. But first, let's see who won a free 5-hour half day for 2 guests. 5-hour half day for 2 guests. Let's see who won a free 5-hour half day for 2 people. The winner is James Seaman. Congratulations, James. You just won a 5-hour half day for 2 people. Make sure if you're picked as one of those lucky winners, you got to text us at that phone number in the upper right hand corner. And if you have a question, you got to text us at that phone number in the upper right hand corner to get that question answered live during the show. So let's see here. What's the first question of the night? Heading out on the extreme trip November 15th with the Salt Strong crew. I saw this was a new moon trip. Please explain how this new moon could affect the bite, and also the gear you would bring. So On a 12-hour extreme or 39-hour trip, we fish similar areas, about 70 to 100 miles out. We're fishing deep water. A new moon typically brings stronger currents, more water flow, which in turn sometimes gets that bite a little bit more excited. And a lot of times the new moon brings a better daytime bite. So a better daytime bite compared to a nighttime bite. So that new moon should be pretty good for the 12-hour extreme trip. But it will bring stronger currents. So with that stronger current, be prepared with heavier lead. If you're bringing your own tackle, you want to make sure you have some 8-ounce leads, some 10-ounce leads, maybe even a 14 or 16-ounce lead. So that way you're prepared if that current is running strong. Mostly we fish 6 ounces, but if the current's running bad, 8 ounces are good. And if it's real bad, maybe a 10, maybe even a 16, 14, something like that. So it's always good to be prepared for sure. But on a 12-hour extreme, you want to pack light. And as far as how the moon phase would affect fishing, typically a new moon would mean a better daytime bite. So how far in advance do you have to make reservations? It depends on the trip. It depends on what you want to book. I mean, a 5-hour trip, you can a lot of times book it the day of, the night before. 10-hour trip, a little bit more in advance is wise since you pick your spot when you reserve. The longer trips, the 12-hour extremes, the 39 hours, the 44 hours, the earlier you book is definitely a benefit because you get to pick your spot and make sure that you're in on the trip before it fills up, because some of those more highly sought after trips like those red snapper trips, those big gag grouper trips, they will fill up. So make sure you book early and book often on those especially trips like the 12-hour trips, the 39s, the 44 hours. Let's see here. What other questions do we have? I hope you and your family are doing well. Disappointed when I checked your site for November 11th and the 5-hour trip was already full. Do you get cancellations? So the 5-hour trip wasn't full for November 11th. It was canceled because we have a hurricane in the Gulf, unfortunately. So when we cancel a trip, they're not available, so they don't show up in the schedule. So it looks like it's full, but it's just canceled, unfortunately. This week we are canceled. We canceled all 5-hour half days and 10-hour all days, Monday through Friday. So we canceled all public fishing trips Monday through Friday, except that 39-hour trip, because we're holding out hope and faith that hurricane will be out of the Gulf before Friday afternoon. Even if it's still in the Gulf Friday afternoon, if it's weak enough, we can still punch out there and fish that 39-hour trip. So waiting to see on the 39-hour trip. How is the fishing forecast for Marine Corps' birthday and Veterans Day? So Veterans Day, the weather looks terrible, and I honestly feel very embarrassed that I don't quite recall the Marine Corps birthday. I think it's right around Veterans Day, and essentially this whole week, Monday through Friday, does not look good weather-wise because of that storm. So again, if you go to our weather links page, so we're going to show you again, if you go to hubbardsmarina.com, you click fishing trips, you scroll down to the weather links page. We showed you the weather models earlier, but if you're just looking for fishing weather, the wind finder forecast is what I recommend. So we're going to look at the close to shore Egmont Key buoy. This is for our 5 and 10 hour trips. You can see we are expecting some serious wind tomorrow. They're forecasting almost 45, 46 mile an hour winds in the morning tomorrow. Almost 5-foot seas to start the day. It calms down to a cool 4 foot tomorrow afternoon. Tuesday and Wednesday, the wind backs down a little bit, but there's still a hurricane out there in the Gulf, and it's still a solid 4 foot. And Wednesday, it gets back up to 5 foot. Then Thursday, that storm starts getting a little closer. They're calling 5.5, 6 foot, and then still around 4 foot on Friday. Finally starts calming down a little bit Saturday, Sunday, and then hopefully this is true. We get a little reprieve next week, Monday, Tuesday, before it looks like we get another cold front. So, little weather window on the backside of this blow before the next blow. The good news is everything that I've seen so far has mostly an east wind. So, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, we have either northeast or east or southeast wind. So what that means for our area is hopefully this holds true and that doesn't change. But if that holds true and doesn't change, that means we don't have to worry about storm surge. And that means we don't have to move the 32 beach cabanas that we have on the beach, because that is a pain in the butt. And it makes me drive my big, beautiful truck down the beach sand, which is not good for my truck or my lift. So I'm hoping and praying I don't have to move all those cabanas, because that is a lot of work on our crew. And my truck loves going off-road, but that salty beach sand is not good. So hopefully we don't have to move all the cabanas. The east wind is doable. That pushes water out of the bay. That's similar to what happened with Irma. We were worried about high water. We moved all the beach cabanas off the beach, but Irma ended up coming east of us, and due to the counterclockwise rotation on hurricanes in any tropical system, it actually ended up sending us mostly an east wind until the storm passed us. We got a north wind, and it ended up blowing all the water out of Tampa Bay. We had low water, and that was a good thing. I'd much rather have no water than too much water. Thank you, TJ McNew and Brad Wooten and Dan Netto, for sending us some stars. Appreciate you guys. All right, let's get back into these questions. On your 39-hour trip, how many pinfish and shrimp can we take? So that has been a debate lately. Actually, I took off the shrimp as an option on the 39-hour trip, because when you book a 5-hour trip, when you book a 10-hour trip, it gives you the option to order shrimp. And what was happening was on our 12-hour trips, our 39-hour trips, our 44-hour trips, the option to order shrimp was there. So people were ordering shrimp on 12-hour extreme trips, on 39-hour trips, on 44-hour trips, because they just wanted to be prepared. And it's really not that necessary to have shrimp on one of those trips. Now, don't get me wrong, shrimp do work very well out there, especially if you're on a 39-hour trip, especially in the summertime, when it's typically very calm in the summertime, and during the midday we get those doldrums where it's super hot, the water is super still, the bite gets super picky. Some super light tackle and a live shrimp is killer for yellowtail, for mangrove snapper, for a variety of species. But this time of year, when it's typically a little bit more bumpy, a calm day in the wintertime is 2-3 foot seas, and we get these cold fronts that muddies up the water. It's a little bit more murky, and it's typically a little bit more bumpy, and typically the bite's fairly good when the weather is good enough to get out there. So if the weather's good enough to get out there, most of the time you don't need the shrimp, because the bite's going to be good. But on a long range trip, when the bite's slow, that's when we use shrimp. So you don't need shrimp. It is just an extra option. And on those longer range trips, it's really even less likely that you're going to need it. But you can take up to 4 dozen pinfish, and then you can take up to as many shrimp as you want. But on a 39-hour and 44-hour trip, you have your own personal live well, and that live well will take up to 4 dozen pinfish or 1 bucket of shrimp. So you can put 3 dozen pinfish and 1 bucket of shrimp, or you could put 4 dozen pinfish and no buckets of shrimp, or if it's a lighter load trip, you can take 4 dozen pinfish and put a bucket of shrimp in another empty live well if you talk to the crew members. But you don't want to put more than about 3 dozen pinfish in a shrimp bucket in one live well. You can put up to 4 dozen pinfish in a live well if you don't have a shrimp bucket in there. And then you want to make sure that you're careful with that shrimp bucket to make sure it's fully submerged with the lid securely on. Because if that shrimp bucket empties out, those shrimp get clogged up in the holes. They'll swim out, you'll lose your shrimp, and it will clog the holes and kill your pinfish. So want to make sure your shrimp bucket's securely closed and sunk so they don't all die. Because if they all die in the bucket, they'll also kill your pinfish. So it's tricky. The shrimp and the pinfish, you want to spread them out a little bit. How can I get information on our 2021 Regulars Club program? So our Regulars Club program, how it works is it's a loyalty program. So it's not a discount program, but it will get you discounts. It's a loyalty program. So if you fish 10, 15, 20 times a year or more, you'd qualify for that Regulars Club. Keep in mind 39-hour, 44-hour trips, they count as 2 trips. So if you're doing 5 39-hour trips a year and you're doing a handful of half-day or 10-hour trips mixed in, you'd qualify for the Regulars Club for sure. But if you're only doing 2, 3, 4 trips a year, you wouldn't qualify for the Regulars Club. So the Regulars Club, basically what it does is it gives you some discounts on the trips to make it more affordable for you to go fishing more often at the same price. So if you're fishing 15 times a year, you can fish 15 times a year for the same amount of money, and now you're able to do 18 or 20 trips for the same amount of money if you join the Regulars Club. So you pay a little bit of money to join. We give you a Regulars Club number, which gives you discounts on the trips through the year. But you got to commit to a certain number of trips through the year, and if you don't meet that qualifying number the following year, you wouldn't be allowed back in the Regulars Club. So the Regulars Club is pretty cool. How you get information on joining the Regulars Club is you email me. You can email me at info@hubbardsmarina.com. So shoot me an email and I'll send you all the Regulars Club info. Our 2021 specialty trip schedule is going to come out December 1st. That's Tuesday, December 1st at 11 a.m. And our new Regulars Club sign up will coincide around that date where we start signing up new Regulars Club members. All right? So let's see, what other questions do we have? How is the fishing in the winter and what fishing seasons are popular? So in the winter in Florida, we have a great gag grouper bite. So gag grouper bite really well in months ending in ER, especially November and December. So we're excited for our gag grouper bite. Whenever the weather relents, those gags should be stacked up on those bigger ledges, and we should have a great push of gag action. We see some big mangrove snapper. We see plenty of kingfish. Maybe some tuna should be starting soon. We see plenty of other heads and tails, porgies, lane snapper, vermilions. So it's a great time to get out there. Scamp grouper have been biting pretty good too. So I would say in the winter, in November and December, it's gags. In January, February, March, we're targeting those red grouper, big mangroves, yellowtails. We're seeing those a great bite of blackfin tuna typically January, February. Let's see, what other questions do we have? How does all of these hurricanes affect Gulf? How do they affect eating habits of our local fish? So when the weather gets really bad like this, the fish typically don't feed too well because the water gets murky. But then once the water clears back up and the weather calms down, the fish get really, really, really excited and they bite really well because they haven't been eaten. So if the weather's really nasty, they don't bite so well. When the weather calms down and clears up, they bite really well because they haven't been eaten and they get all sanded in when the weather's really bad, just like us. If a hurricane's coming at us and we're expecting a Cat 5 hurricane, we're going to go take cover. We're going to go shelter. We're going to pack a bunch of food and we're going to stay in place till that storm's passed. It's the same thing with those fish. Those fish sense a storm coming. They get on that big structure, they congregate together, they feed heavily right before the storm comes, and then they hunker down and hang out until that storm passes. And when that storm passes, they all are ready to eat because they haven't been eaten. So it definitely affects the bite. The bite is really good ahead of the storm, and then once the weather calms down and clears up, the bite is really, really hot again. A few years ago, I saw you do a live show at a car dealership in NPR. It was much more personal. Do you ever plan on doing small in-person groups again? I wish I was doing those. We do in-person seminars at Bass Pro Shops every month. But with COVID going on, Bass Pro Shops has pretty much totally shut that down. So if they don't get off the whole COVID train, maybe we should do one of our own. It's November. Maybe we'll do one of those around the holidays. It's November 8th. Yeah, so you give me a good idea. If Bass Pro Shops doesn't give us the green light to do an in-person seminar ourselves, maybe we should do our own in-person seminar in the waiting area. And the beautiful thing is, last time we did one of these in the waiting area, the beautiful thing about that is Bass Pro kind of frown on you bringing alcohol to the seminars, but in the waiting area, you can bring alcohol to the seminars. So it was a lot more fun last time because we had a keg of beer out there, and it was a good time. So let's say Black Friday, I think, is the 27th. So we have a Black Friday deal going on. Maybe we'll plan a seminar around the first week of December, because our 2020 schedule or 2021 schedule opens up. We'll have the Black Friday deal going on. I think we're going to plan an in-person seminar around December. So good idea. And we're going to have free beer. And I'm going to be drinking Jameson. And we'll have great deals going on in the shop. Black Friday, we always have tons of great deals going on. We have our Black Friday gift certificate deals. Amanda, our general manager and retail manager, is talking about doing crazy deals on Daiwa Saltigas again if you buy a Bull Bay rod. We're going to have the Bull Bay rods going out. We're going to have a ton of tackle and lures on sale. The Fathom offshore trolling lures she's going to have on total crazy sale. So lots of cool stuff going on. So I like that idea. I'm going to shoot myself an email before I forget, because I will wake up tomorrow morning and totally forget what we discussed during the show. Black Friday seminar and waiting area per live show question. Let's plan it. So stay tuned for the date. We'll be announcing that in our email newsletters. We send out an email newsletter every Friday. And then also don't forget that private supporters group. The supporters are definitely going to find out about it first, and we'll announce it to everybody else in Friday's email newsletter. But definitely a great idea. We should do that again soon, because those in-person seminars are great. We used to do them all the time at Bass Pro Shops, but Bass Pro has totally shut down in-person seminars due to COVID. So we'll do our own. I like it. Due to the hurricane, where do you store the boats if not Johns Pass? So any boat that can be pulled out of the water gets pulled out of the water. The Flying Hub 2 is out of the water up in a dry dock area. Our new boat that we just built is out of the water at Maximo. The hub is going to get put in the Flying Hub 2 slip and kind of tucked back there behind the lee. We're going to put the Dolphin boat over at Madeira Beach Municipal Marina and kind of tuck it in between two docks. We got our Egmont Key and Shell Key ferry over at the boat ramp, kind of webbed between two floating docks. We've got the Mrs. Hub over at the Treasure Island Yacht Club. We've got the Friendly in Florida will stay on our main docks, trying to hold that sand back. But if the weather gets bad and we get a strong west wind with a big flood tide and some high seas, we'll pull those boats off the dock and drive them back into the back bay and kind of hide back there in the back bay in the lee of Paradise Isles. So that is our hurricane plan. We've had a hurricane meeting the last 2 nights in a row with our managers and our first captains, and we're enacting that tropical storm plan. It's actually a 3-page document. I'll show you real quick. So we have a very strict and laid out tropical attack plan, and when one of these storms threatens our area, I type up one of these documents. So you can see there's dates and very strategic laid out plans for each date, list of items that we need to accomplish, and then we have meetings of our managers and first captains at multiple intervals during the day as those storms approach. So that's how we handle these crazy storms, and that's why I'm a little bit tired. It's been a long stretch between the sand issues, the starting a new West Coast charter captains group, and my normal charter captains group, and the hurricane and everything else. But it is what it is. It's the challenge. It's the life we live, right? It's a lifestyle. We love it. I love it. I don't have a fish finder, but have been lucky to catch red grouper every time I go out. That is crazy. You don't have a fish finder, but you catch red grouper every time you go out. That's interesting. Where do red grouper, gag grouper like to hang out? Structure, hard bottom, sandy bottom. So red grouper typically are over flat, hard bottom. They'll even venture out into sand bottom. Shell mostly during the day, especially, and at night they're scavenging. But hard bottom typically is what you're looking for when you're finding grouper, especially gag grouper. Ledges, rock piles, those are more gag grouper territory. Flat, hard bottom, potholes, typically more red grouper territory. On the 39-hour trip, do I need a depending tool? You need a venting tool. I assume that's the word you were looking for there. Autocomplete gets us all. Don't worry. You need a venting tool on a 39-hour trip. Yeah, 12-hour extreme. You don't need a venting tool because the captain and crew will take care of it for you. But on a 39-hour trip, 44-hour trip, you need your own venting tool. You can bring your own. A lot of times we'll have them for you in the shop for sale if you want to buy a nice one, or we'll give you one before you board. But you cannot get on a 39 or 44-hour trip without a venting tool. What's your thought on the glow beads? An older gentleman was using them on a 39-hour trip. Advantage, disadvantage, preference. So me personally, when I was when I was a kid fishing on the 39-hour trip, glow beads were very popular, and everybody used glow beads. Nowadays, not a lot of people use glow beads as much. If I went out on a 39-hour trip, I would not use a glow bead to start. But if I saw someone using a glow bead who was out fishing me, I would definitely switch to using a glow bead. I have glow beads in my tackle box, but I don't rig them up anymore, generally. But if the bite's a little picky, sometimes having those glow beads will get the attention of the fish, and it might get you that bite. But generally, I don't rig up glow beads unless I need to. If the bite's a little picky, sometimes trying something a little different. Sometimes all it takes is being the one bait down there that looks a little different. Whether that's everybody's using thread fins and you're using cigar minnows, or everybody's using sardines and you're using thread fins, or everybody's using thread fins and sardines and you're using ballyhoo, or everybody's fishing without glow beads and you're fishing with glow beads, or everybody's fishing dead bait and you're using live bait, everybody's fishing dead bait and you're using a live shrimp. whatever it is. Sometimes all it takes is being that one bait that looks a little different to get those fish to chew. If the bite's really good, a lot of times it don't matter. But it really just depends on the action, the fish, what you're targeting, the species. But a lot of times you keep a wide variety of selection and options in your tackle box, and you come prepared, because my favorite saying is there's no tackle shops offshore. So once you get offshore, you don't have the luxury of going back into that tackle shop and picking up something you don't have. So it's always a good idea to come prepared. I bring glow beads with me. Do I use them a lot? No. So let's see, I think it's time to give away another free fishing trip. So let's give away a 10-hour all day for 2 guests. 10-hour all day for 2 guests goes to Gabe Brown. Gabe Brown gets a 10-hour all day for 2 guests. Remember, if you're picked as one of those lucky winners, you have about 5 minutes to text me at that phone number in the upper right-hand corner your full home address to claim that free trip. All right, let's see, what other questions do we have? Do you get upset if a boat follows you out? Yes, we would get very upset if a boat followed us out and followed us around. Definitely, it's not something you want to do. Strongly discourage. You just, whatever you do, if you follow a boat out, just make sure it's not one of the Hubbard family behind the wheel. Because my dad's crazy, my cousin is crazy, and I'm the craziest. You don't want to follow one of us out. Our other captains are pretty crazy as well. So you don't want to follow out someone on a fishing boat, whether it's on my boat, a buddy's boat. If you follow another fishing boat offshore, it leads to bad things. That's like following someone inshore, that's like following a hunter in the forest to their tree stand. You wouldn't do that. So don't follow someone. Find your own fishing spots for sure. That's the way you want to go. If you don't have fishing spots, you're starting out, you don't know how to find fishing spots, come by the office. I'll show you the top spots chart, and I'll talk to you about how to find your own fishing spots and how to build up that repertoire of your own portfolio of fishing spots. We have captains all the time that start out as crew members, work their way up to captains, and then they fish as captains for a while, and then they go out and start their own charter business. We just had that happen this year. So there's a lot of ways you can learn how to fish, where to fish, and find your own spots. And it's always better doing it yourself than following someone else and trying to take their fishing spots. Or worst case scenario, which we've had happen before, is someone coming out fishing with us for a few years and bringing a GPS with them in their bag and stealing our fishing spots. And that's happened. One of our Regulars Club members, who was a good friend, someone I would have invited to family dinner, fished with us for like 4 years, and one day left their bag behind, and I opened the bag to try to find out whose it was. There's a GPS in the very top of the bag that had all our fishing trips dating back 4 years. Every trip we did dating back 4 years. And we kicked them out of the Regulars Club, wouldn't allow them back on the boat. And the next month, they started their own charter business with our fishing spots. That hurt. That was pretty dirty. But it's a product of taking people fishing. And that's why we don't allow electronics on the boat. That's why we don't allow smartphones, smartwatches. We've seen it. We've been through it. And we don't want to do it again. Let's see here. Does the 10-hour Tuesday look good due to the weather? No. No 10-hour trips, no 5-hour trips this week at all. What is the storm going to do to the sand? The sand is going to build up exponentially. So in that video I showed earlier, which we'll show again real quickly, where's the, right here. So this is the sand wrapping around the jetty. You can see how rough it is here. It's not rough at all. This is an absolutely flat, calm day. Flat, calm, incoming tide, no wave action, no bad weather. Look at all that sand. Look at all that sand coming around the jetty. Absolutely flat, calm, no wave action. So, no wave action, beautiful, flat, calm day. You can see all the sand coming around the jetty. Now, imagine if it's 6-foot seas and blowing 35 miles an hour from a storm passing us close by. Hurricane Matthew didn't even get within 100 miles of us, and Hurricane Matthew sent 10 feet of sand that was 40 feet long and moved the beach almost 50 yards. And that didn't even get close to us. So if this storm gets anywhere near us, if there's any bad weather at all, that sand just exponentially grows. So to answer your question, what does the hurricane do to sand? It screws us royally. It's a terrible situation. So make sure to sign the petition, help us out, because this hurricane is going to bury us in sand if it's at all strong, if it at all comes close to our property. So we're hoping and praying it stays away from us, fizzles out, isn't that strong, because it's gonna be very bad. Even a cold front, even an afternoon thunderstorm brings us a lot of sand, and a hurricane would bury us, would essentially put us out of business, would drive our boats off the dock. So super, super, super bad situation if we get a real hard cold front, or if we get a big hurricane that hits our area. So to answer your question, it's not good. Let's see. When your schedule comes out 1st of December, will you have any deep drop trips on it? No. We only do up to 44-hour trips. We do not do any deep drop public trips. We used to do some deep drop private charters, but we don't offer those at all. If you want to do deep drop fishing, we have a few local charter captains who do that, like our friend Tim No, our friend Chris Taylor, Steve Pappin. There's a bunch of local charters in the area that do deep drop fishing that we'd be happy to point you out to. But we do not do deep drop fishing ourselves. I hear a lot about redfish bite. Question is, are redfish catch and release? Yes, in our greater Tampa Bay area, redfish are catch and release only. Redfish, snook trout are all catch and release only right now. Let's see, what other questions we have. What gear do I need to troll with one of your new Nomad lures? So, to troll on one of our trips, it's got to be a 5-hour half day, 39-hour, or 44-hour trip. You cannot troll on 10-hour trips or 12-hour trips. On a 5-hour half day, 39 or 44-hour trip, you need big tackle. Especially on a 39 or 44-hour, you need at least a 50 wide 2-speed. 80 wide 2-speed will work, but a 50 wide 2-speed at least for those 39 and 44-hour trips. On a half-day trip, you can get away with some of those heavier duty 2-speed reels. Even some of the smaller reels work, but bigger is better because they're bottom fishing trips. They're not trolling trips, so we don't slow down for you to reel in those mackerel or kingfish or bonita. You got to retrieve those fish while the boat's moving. So it takes a bigger reel to get that done. Recently went on a 44-hour trip and saw more lane snapper caught than ever before. Why do you think that is? So lane snapper are definitely making a very unique comeback, if you will, or unique kind of essentially, lane snapper biomass is exploding. So lane snapper is a very data poor species. So at the National Marine Fisheries level in fisheries management, there is an ABC control rule that sets an ACL for lane snapper. They don't have stock assessments that set an ACL for lane snapper because it's a data poor species. Now they are starting to do some assessments on lane snapper. They're starting to change the catch level on lane snapper because we were filling the lane snapper quota all of a sudden, which we've never done before. For the last 3 years, we filled the lane snapper quota, actually overfished the quota. We had a lane snapper closure in 2019, which was super frustrating. So we're actually working towards changing the lane snapper catch level. And the lane snapper catch level change will help us to be able to catch more lane snapper without the season closing. So lane snapper are very healthy. The stock is rebounding incredibly. We're seeing lane snapper, juvenile lane snapper in huge numbers, even inshore. Inside the bay, around our bridges, we're catching lane snapper, even keeper size lane snapper around the skyway, which is something that was never seen before. So lane snapper and red snapper are making a huge comeback, and I think that has a lot to do, lane snapper specifically, I think has a lot to do with red grouper population. So the red grouper population took a big downturn. I think the red grouper population's coming back a lot, but I think with the downturn in the downturn in red grouper has allowed those juvenile lanes to make it to adult size, and more adult lane snapper out there reproducing means a bigger lane snapper population. So I think the dip in red grouper population the last 5 to 7 years has allowed the lane snapper population to explode. So that's my subjective view on the lane snapper. We're seeing more lane snapper because red grouper and gag grouper populations have taken a little dip, and we're seeing an exploding red snapper population, and red snapper are symbiotic. They exist with the lane snapper. They don't compete. They're not pushing those lane snapper out. They can exist together. So lane snapper are exploding because red snapper are exploding, and red grouper and gag grouper have dwindled. That's my unofficial subjective view on lane snapper. But everybody would agree that lane snapper populations are exploding. We're catching way more lanes than we ever have before. Let's see here. What other questions do we have? Gonna be in Daytona for a week before heading your way. Chartered the Hub November 24th. Do you have any charter friends in Daytona? So Daytona's a little north for me. I've got some charter friends in southeast Florida. Down there with Ralph Hawkins and his boats. My friend Ira Lax over there in Jupiter. I know a lot of charter captains. Down south of Jupiter, I know even more charter captains. But Daytona, I wouldn't say that I have a charter friend in Daytona that I could readily recommend. But I'm sure someone on the live video has a lane, or not a lane snapper, a charter captain recommendation for Daytona Beach. So if you've been out in the charter that you would recommend in Daytona, drop it in the comments for that viewer who sent in that question, because I do not. Never caught a kingfish, but I want to. If I run out of Johns Pass and use a stinger rig, what am I looking for as far as depth and bottom to find them? So if you want to catch a kingfish this time of year, I wouldn't even leave Johns Pass really. So right now I'd go out early in the morning, and as you're heading out of the channel, I would set out some planers. So if you have a bigger boat, I would set out a planer, a number 1 planer in one corner of the boat, number 2 planer in the middle or on the other corner of the boat. Maybe another deep diving planer in the middle or on the outside edge, and then I would send maybe a plug down the middle, maybe a skirted plug to the right of it. Just make a little spread as you go out of the channel, and then as you go by the sea buoy, look for birds. If you don't see any birds, troll your way out to the local Madeira Beach Reef, or the Reddington mitigation sites, that Clearwater Hard Bottom, St. Pete Beach Reef, any of those local reefs, South County, all holding plenty of bait, plenty of mackerel. You'll probably catch 24 mackerel, and you might hook a nice big old kingfish. But definitely a couple planers. Typically you troll the planers on the outside edge, and then you put a diving plug inside the planers, and then the skirted plugs down the middle on the shotgun rods. And then make sure as you're trolling that you're doing big figure eights. If you find a school of bait, you figure eight on the edge of the school of bait. So let's pretend my head is a school of bait. So you would, this is going to be difficult because the video is reversed. So you would troll up. Yeah, this is going to be super difficult. Terrible idea. All right, so let's pretend this might be easier. So if my head's the school of bait, you want to kind of go up the edge and then do a big loop. Yep, this is not going to work. The video's reversed. I'm going to look like an idiot. We are going to open up a paint. This will save me from looking totally retarded. All right, so this is your school of bait. Bunch of bait out here, jumping around, being crazy. And this is my boat. So if I see my school of bait, I see a bunch of birds, I'm going to troll up here. I'm going to make a slow turn. I'm going to troll down the edge of it. I'm going to come up here, do a big sweeping slow turn so I don't tangle my trolling tackle. I'm going to troll down this edge of it, then do a big slow sweeping turn, troll down this edge of it again, and then another big slow, very easy turn, troll down this edge of it, another big slow turn, troll down this edge of it. You never want to go in the middle. If you go through the middle, you're going to spread out the bait. You're going to ruin it. You never want to go through the middle of the school of bait. You want to always cut the edges. If you cut the edges, that keeps the fish feeding, keeps those mackerel feeding. It doesn't spread out the bait. So you want to definitely cut around the edge of the school of bait. And as you do those slow swooping turns, it actually will drag your lures through the bait. And as you turn, the lures will actually variable speed. So if you're going in a straight line, the lures will stay at the same speed. But if you start to turn slowly, as the lines turn with the boat, the lures will actually variable speed. And sometimes that'll help you get the bite. So Jupiter is not a great area. Whoever said that, no. So I'm a part of the Marine Resource Education Program, which is South Atlantic, Caribbean, and Gulf. And the Marine Resource Education Program, I sit on the steering committee, the planning committee, and I'm also a part of the national steering committee for the Marine Resource Education Program. And there's like 3 people on the planning committee and steering committee from Jupiter, Florida, and they all claim that Jupiter, Florida is the sport fishing capital of the world, and there's better fishing in Jupiter than there will ever be in Tampa Bay area, and they're all full of it. Because in Tampa Bay area far outweighs Jupiter for anything and everything. We have more species to go out there and catch. We don't have the shark problems. We don't have the bad weather. We have a bigger continental shelf with more area, more fishing spots. We can support more fishermen. We don't all fight over a few fishing spots. We have so much area, so many grouper. We're the grouper capital of the region. Johns Pass is a grouper capital of Southeast region, and it was the grouper capital of the world back in the day when there was more charter or more commercial fishing boats out of our pass. So definitely Jupiter's an okay area, but don't say Jupiter's a great area, because it is not anywhere close to Tampa Bay, Florida. It's a very sore subject for me. Someone brought it up. Don't appreciate it. Hopefully some of my friends from Marine Resource Education Program hear this. I'm going to send it to them. The Vice President of Ingle Coolers, Mike Dixon, he's from Jupiter, Florida. He's one of the worst ones. I love my Ingle Coolers, but I don't like Mike Dixon. Let's see here. Never caught a king. Oh, I already read that one. Can I book a trip for early December, buy gift cards during Black Friday sale, and then switch payment method to gift card when I show up for the trip? So when you book a trip, you don't have to pay for it. If you call us over the phone, all you do is put your credit card number down or your debit card number down and hold the trip. And then you can pay for the trip the day of. So you can use your credit card or debit card to hold the trip. And then the day of, you can pay with cash. You can pay with the card you put on file, or you can pay with a gift card. So if you reserve a trip in December, you can hold it with your credit card. And then if you buy some Black Friday gift certificates, you can use those for your December trip. But keep in mind, you cannot buy your gift certificate the day of the trip, and there are some gift certificate specifications that you want to be aware of, and some rules with the gift certificates you want to keep in mind. For example, the expiration dates are very strict. So if you buy a gift certificate and you wait till the 11th month to use it, and then there's bad weather, it's a challenge. So make sure that you book early and you use those gift certificates early, and they're only good for trip fare. Thank you, Christine Sirach, for sending some stars. Greg Sweeten for sending some stars. Appreciate you guys. TJ McNew, John Ferguson. Appreciate all your stars tonight, John. Jennifer Roberts says, tell them about White Claws on the boat. Jennifer, I hope you're very happy about that White Claw thing, because that was a lot of drama that White Claws caused me, and it's all for you and a few other people that asked. But Jennifer, mostly for you, because you made the biggest deal about it. So we do have White Claws on the boat now, and that was for the Roberts family, specifically Jennifer, to make sure that she was happy. Appreciate you guys doing so many trips with us, and when we get requests, we listen. I was told she wanted White Claws, and we worked hard at it, and my cousin Garrett made it happen. So we have White Claw on the boat now. So we have Bud Light, Bud, Miller Lite, and White Claw. And if you're going fishing and you want some White Claw, let me know, because our galley crew, basically our whole company, it's a family-run company. It's family-oriented, and a lot of our staff, we have a great team. We're very blessed to have a great team. But our great team has been around a while because we foster that. We love having a good team that lasts a while, and long-term staff members, but they don't like change. So the White Claw thing caused a big stir, because now we have this new thing that we got to sell and stock and all that stuff. So if you're going fishing, you want some White Claw, and you're going to drink a lot of it, make sure you let us know as you board, because we'll make sure we have extra for you. John Morris, Chrissy Payne, Vicky Poole, appreciate the stars. Thank you so much. Let's see what other questions. Maybe it will be another storm to make the pass again, bud. No, the storms do not help the sand situation. Sorry. I was looking at the pictures. Does any of... No idea what this means. I was looking at the pictures. Does any of your meats every drop of the fish in the water taking picture? I don't know. I've only had 1.5 glasses of Jameson. I'm not that drunk. What is a venting tool? A venting tool is a tool that allows you to release the water or the excess gas on that fish. So when you retrieve a fish up from the bottom quickly, it fills up with gas. So Archimedes' principle is in effect. So essentially, if you go down to 100 foot of water and you filled up a plastic bag with air, and you swam from 100 foot of water to the surface, that plastic bag would explode before you hit the surface. because at the surface we have 14.7 pounds of gravitational pressure on us, 1 atmosphere of pressure. I think it's 14.7 or 14.9, I'm not sure. So you have about 1 atmosphere of pressure on you standing on the Earth's surface at sea level. If you go down 33 feet, you have 2 atmospheres of pressure on you, or whatever 14.7 times 2 is. When you go down 66 feet, you have 3 atmospheres of pressure. 99 feet, 4 atmospheres of pressure, and so on and so forth. So every 33 feet is another atmosphere of pressure. So when you have all this pressure on you down there in 120 foot of water, then when you all of a sudden ascend to 1 atmosphere of pressure at the surface of the water, all the gases that was in your belly, your swim bladder, your lungs expand at an exponential rate. That's why if you're a diver, they tell you it's so deadly so deadly to swim to the surface without exhaling very, very often, and going up to the surface very slowly. So whenever you're diving, you got to go up to the surface very slowly, and you never go faster to the surface than your bubbles, because you don't want to ascend too quickly, or you can have an air embolism in your lungs and literally die because of that gas expansion in your body. So the fish, if you can't, you're not allowed to swim to the surface faster than your bubbles, but when you catch a fish, what do? You reel that sucker up as fast as you can, because you want to catch that fish. Well, you catch that fish, he's not a keeper. What do? You got to release him. So if you're going to release them, you got to release that excess pressure. And there's 2 ways to do that. It's called barotrauma mitigation. You can vent or descend your fish. If you use a descending device, that works the same way, or you can vent your fish. If you're venting your fish, you got to use a venting tool. You got to do it properly. If you don't know how to vent a fish, we can show you on the way out on a 39-hour fishing trip or 44-hour fishing trip. The crew will do a seminar upstairs at the back of the boat. They'll have a venting tool for you, or no, you'll get your venting tool on the dock, and the crew will show you how to use it throughout the trip on that seminar. If you have questions, you can ask. Any point, you can always ask. We're happy to help you, but you got to vent your fish before you release them. So, real important. You don't want to make sure you want to make sure you don't want your fish to float away dead. If you catch an undersized red grouper, out of season red snapper, out of season amberjack, undersized amberjack, whatever it is, you got to vent it and release it quickly. The point is to get that fish from the bottom to point B at the surface as quick as possible. If it's a keeper, throw it on the deck, get back to fishing. If it's not a keeper, get it off the hook extremely quickly, vent it or descend it extremely quickly. Very important. I think we're pretty much out of time. Almost got to all the questions. Just vacuum sealed my catch from the Tuesday 39-hour trip. 69 total keeper fish in total. Thanks, Captain Brian. Glad you enjoyed your trip. Thanks for watching. How do you sign up to become a supporter? You can sign up to become a supporter right on our Hubbard's Marina Facebook page at the top. There's a Become a Supporter button. Also on the video, there's a supporter button. The supporter group will give you exclusive content, first right refusal to stuff. You get some behind the scenes stuff. And lately I've been slacking because of the weather, the sand issues, the charter groups. Definitely been slacking a little bit, so I'll do better, I promise. If people don't respond to the winning trips, will you pick another one? Yes, but I haven't had anyone not respond to winning a free trip in a little while. Has anyone come forward on how to solve the sand issue or jetty issue to retain the sand? We had a special meeting with the county, city, and state, and basically the county administrator is... I won't finish that sentence. So basically, we had a meeting with the city, the county, the state representatives, our congressional representatives, our senators, our Army Corps, FD or FDOT, DEP, The county commissioner was there, Janet Long, and county administrator Barry Burton, and county public works director Kelly Levy-Hammer. And the city was gracious enough to host the meeting. The city of Madeira Beach has been super helpful and supportive. Our private property owner, Ben Mala, has been super helpful and supportive. Our state representatives, Nick DeSigli, what was Jennifer Webb, now is Linda Cheney, has been super helpful and supportive. But we are hitting an absolute roadblock at the county administrator. Barry Burton systematically destroyed any solution that we put forward with help from DEP and Army Corps. To me, in that meeting, it was clear that they had met previously. They had gone over all the solutions that I came up with, and I think they previously came up with arguments against them. It was such a frustrating 2-hour meeting in which the county public works director, in regards to talking about the jetties, said, I don't understand why we would take such a complicated, expensive project to solve such a simple, small issue. She called the sand buildup issue in Johns Pass a simple and small issue. Army Corps said that Johns Pass isn't important enough to qualify for dredging, essentially. The project coordinator for the area said that Johns Pass hasn't been dredged since 1983, and it will not be dredged because Johns Pass is performing well, and it does not stack up against other areas of importance. So Johns Pass is not important enough to the Army Corps to dredge. The county administrator and county public works director literally called our problem simple and small, and the county administrator stood at the top of the stairs and laughed at us as we did our news interviews after that recent meeting. So those are our problems. So literally nothing got solved at the last meeting except for the county administrator, Barry Burton, yelled at us about, why don't you fence off the sand? If you're so worried about the sand issues causing safety, why don't you fence it off? Well, Barry, if you walk down the dang jetty, you can step onto state property or you can step onto county property, and hey, you don't have a fence around it. So we can fence off our private property, Barry, but it doesn't help if they step onto FDOT property. Why don't you get off your lazy ass and come on down and see the sand issue, buddy, and then you'll know. So don't yell at me, Barry. Oh, I don't want to get further into it than that. I'm going to start cussing. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. That meeting, I honestly said a prayer to myself in my head. I literally at one time was saying woosah. I was one time grabbing my leg and massaging my leg. And at one point I was kicking the ground. At one time I cried on the inside. It was such a frustrating meeting. It took everything, every bone in my body not to explode. I'm surprised I didn't leave in handcuffs, to be honest. It was that infuriating. It was so ridiculous. So that's why we started a petition. That's why I need your help. I need everybody to sign the petition, because County Administrator Barry Burton and the county commission is absolutely stonewalling us. Janet Long played a good game before she was running for election. She was all hot and heavy and fighting for us. At this meeting, she won re-election. She sat there quietly the whole meeting and she left early. And when she left early, she gave Barry Burton and Kelly Hammer, the public works director, a nice big hug and kiss and traded sweet nothings on the way out of the room. So it was all BS. All BS, apparently. I don't know. I'm so infuriated with the county administrator, the county public works director, and it looks to me like Janet Long isn't there to fight for us. I don't know. Charlie Justice, who is actually in charge of our area, has been totally quiet. He reached out to me right before re-election to say, hey, I care about this problem. And I said, well, let's talk about it. Give me a call. Never called me. And they both won re-election. Kathleen Peters has called me emailed me. She's been very communicative, but Kathleen Peters is only one county commissioner, and whatever she votes for, everybody else votes against. So we're in a pickle. We're in a big pickle, and that's why we need the petition. Hopefully we get a bunch of signatures and we can go above their heads. We can get Rick Scott, Marco Rubio on board. If we can get a hold of DeSantis, that would be great, but we only got 5,000 signatures. We're going to need about 100,000 more than that to even get a blimp on his radar, unfortunately. But luckily, I know some people, the fisheries management thing. I know the head scientist for the state of Florida, the head of science for the entire state of Florida, who works for Governor Ron DeSantis, is a fairly decent friend of mine from the council meeting. So I'm saving that as my trump card, and I need a lot of signatures on this petition before I approach him. And also meeting with the Sierra Club this week. I talked to Oceana, Pew, EDF, Environmental Defense Fund, working with the environmentalists about our manatee issue because it's pushing manatees off the historical migration routes. Working with the environmentalists because, hey, this is a manatee problem. If it doesn't kill a kid, it's going to kill a manatee. And unfortunately, the county administrator pretty much poo-pooed every solution possible. So he would rather see a young child swept offshore or a manatee killed before he's going to do anything, obviously. So we're going to start a petition. We're going to work every angle, and the fight's just beginning because they haven't met me before, and he might be able to bully other people, but he hasn't met Dylan Hubbard before because I'm not stopping here. And I might sound upset, I might sound frustrated, and I am. I left that meeting extremely frustrated, but I came downstairs and had a press conference with 3 news outlets. We had 60 people out there holding signs and chanting "Save Johns Pass." And thanks to you guys, your support, that's how we're going to win this thing. I can't do it on my own. I can be a squeaky wheel. I can yell and scream all I want. But without you guys standing behind me, backing me up, sharing the posts, sharing the petitions, signing the petitions, we'd be nothing without you guys. So it's all thanks to you guys and my loving, caring, beautiful wife who allows me all this leniency to take on all these extra fights. We're going to get this thing done. I'm going to fix this sand problem. I don't want to leave Johns Pass. We could just pack up and leave. My dad's been fighting this for 30 years. My dad wants to pack up and leave and let the sand run down the boardwalk and shut everybody down. Johns Pass gets 1.1 to 1.2 million visitors a year. Hubbard's Marina averages about 100,000 visitors a year on our boats. So if we take 100,000 people on the boats, Johns Pass has a 1.1 million visitors. We essentially make up 10% of the visitors to Johns Pass. So if our business leaves tomorrow, 10% of tax revenue for the city, 10% of visitors for Johns Pass is gone. Gone. And then if that sand goes down and shuts down the next business, the pirate ship and dolphin quest, now another 5-10% is gone. If it shuts down the jet ski rentals, the parasail next, Johns Pass is going to die. This sand is going to close Johns Pass waterfront. And that's what my dad wants to do. He wants to leave and let it happen. I don't want to leave. I don't want to give up without a fight. And I'm not going down without a fight. And I need your help. Sign the petition. Tell your friends. Get your family involved. Help me out. And with that, let's give away a 39-hour trip. And don't forget to become a supporter to stay involved. Let me share that petition link again. Become a supporter. Watch that weather with me. Don't forget to check out Mike's weather page. Tell him I sent you. I watch Mike's weather videos all the time, and I comment a lot. So it's cool watching someone else do a live video, because then I get to just comment, and send stars. It's fun. It's nice to be on the other side of things. So join Mike's weather page so we can all play around on his live videos together. With that, let's give away a 39-hour fishing trip for one guest. 39-hour fishing trip for one guest. Let's see who the lucky winner is. And I'm going to get hammered drunk and fall asleep. Wake up and do it again. Jeff Molino. from Palm Harbor. Save Johns Pass. Appreciate it, Jeff. You were the lucky winner of the free 39-hour trip for one guest. Appreciate you tuning in, y'all. We'll see you next week for another episode of the live stream show. Please sign the petition. Get your wife, your boyfriend, whatever, your kids, get your family, your friends, your out-of-towners. Share it all over the place. Please sign the petition. SaveJohnsPass.com. Use hashtag SaveJohnsPass. Sign the petition. The petition's right on our homepage. It's also at SaveJohnsPass.com. I put the link in the video a whole bunch. I put the video link in the video a whole bunch. Visit SaveJohnsPass.com. It's got all the info. If you share it and someone starts drilling you about questions, tell them to go to the website. Tell them to text us at that phone number in the upper right-hand corner. We got to join forces. We got to get more signatures. There's 7 million people in Pinellas County, and we only have 5,000 signatures. So let's work together. Let's solve this issue, and we'll see you next week, Sunday night, 8:30 p.m. for another episode of the live stream show. Have a great Sunday night, y'all. Thanks for watching.